originally, my first job after university was running large-scale psychophysics experiment for the on psychology of music. So I was not studying neuroscience. I started with psychology and cognitive science, and then, as I said, I taught myself neurotech. I enrolled in a program called Fabricademy, where I learned electronics. How to make PCB, and that's when I made my first EEG, and I made in 3 months my first brain-computer interface, and it was 3 years ago. So it's a strange loop. We can detail about this project later. But last year, this first brain-computer interface was named Top 100 French Inventions by Yann Lequin and 2 Physics Nobel Prize. So this is when everything started. I joined a neurotech startup, and then I joined MIT as a research affiliate, where I'm now. It's been 1 year and a few months. I've been co-leading the research on 3D visual reconstruction from brainwave. And now I'm scaling this work to the next frontier, decoding dreams. So yeah, for the dream, it's very personal for me, this project. If we dive into this now, but yeah, my grandfather was a veteran who suffered from PTSD nightmare, and this is what made me start to sleeping every day, wearing a brain sensor, annotating my dreams, and also got me into the science behind dreams. And there was one theory that really got me, that started everything for the dream, is the Michel Jouvet theory that says that part of the dream is encoded in the DNA, and dream is this moment when you negotiate with this genetically programmed behavior. And so dream is this moment when you negotiate with your genetic programming, and you acquire behavioral tendency. And so this was really the start for me when I realized I wanted to build a brain-computer interface to program or deprogram patterns of the mind and understand dreams and consciousness. So
Okay.
yeah, this is.
So like lots of things to unpack there. One, like, just before we come to the dream recorder part, one question I had was on just the project before this,
Yeah,
because
it
it
was
seems
just
that
my background.
that set you up, but that is
Yes.
what set you up basically for the dream recorder, which was around strange loops. And I know you'd mentioned that one of your favorite books was Gödel Escherbach, and the project that you were working on was Strange Loops, which is basically where you expressed on how you were able to. It's like a mask and a dress design as well. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because that seemed to be like the initial step where you used the
Mm-mm.
brain waves to kind of showcase emotion in different colors. And that, I think, seems to have led to this next stage.
Yeah, but this was my first brain-computer interface. So
And for the
it's
layman, like
it's
what does that include? So what is an
yes,
EEG
yes,
and what is just a BCI? What does it do? How do you go about even building one?
yes. So I started by hacking. There is a Star Wars toys actually from that embed EEG sensor. Is the Force Trainer by Neurosky. This is how I started with neurotechnology. I just took this sensor and I hacked it to start to make blip blop with my mind, like some music. And then I reverse engineered this sensor. I made my own PCB for EEG, and I 3D scanned my head. So I'm the only one who can wear it at the moment because it's really conceived from my 3D scan. And yeah, so I designed the whole thing. It's a mask that embed the sensor, and it also embed optic fibers. I could show, or maybe in the
Do you have it right now?
no, it's
Okay, we
It's
can
not
probably
clear.
open it up at least. Let me open it up if I can find it on your website. I think that'll give
Yeah, I
you
think
a
it's
lot more
better as
context.
a visual explanation.
Yeah. So let me just open that up. Let me know if you guys can see it. So I'm gonna. I think this is the one.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's better as a picture than just and there is a video too, but so yeah, the
Continue. I've just
yes,
muted it just so that
so
people
yeah,
can
the
have the
the idea
background.
was it's fairly simple, this project, huh? To be honest, the technical spec of it is just a one channel EEG classifier of attention, meditation, and yeah, some algorithm to extract the power spectral density, and it change color based on emotional state, a peak in different frequency band, and a threshold of meditation, attention, reach. But
So,
I
like for
think
example,
that
here that you're seeing that okay, it's moving around in different states. Is it like pre-programmed or is it happening in real time based on what you're thinking?
oh, it's in real time. It's not based on what I'm thinking. Like, and it's not. It's just there is a mapping between the color and also animation of the light
Hmm.
with peak in different frequency band, and also because I made a whole series of brainwave performance with it, so it's not just the light control but also music. So I made a whole mapping where different threshold in the meditation level, the attention level, and different peak in frequency band trigger animation in the light, but also modulate instrument on stage. So yeah, and if you
Got it.
go
And that
down in the
behind is
page,
what the BCI interface that you had created.
yeah, well, this was the first iteration of the mask because as you can see the back there is a big box, but
Yes.
then I made a second version where it's a very thin box. I was learning to do CAD, so 3D modeling, because in my art practice I used to do a lot of 3D graphics for digital art, but it was the first time that I 3D print. This is what I had to learn, is to 3D print such a very thin shape and also embed the sensor in it. So it started with this big box that looked like the back of a car because I was
And
coached
what
by
was like why the name Strange Loop?
yeah, but as you said, uh, Godel et Scherbach from Douglas Hofstadter was my favorite book in high school and even in high school. So I was in fine art degree, and I had made already an artwork that was named I Am a Strange Loop. So I was really, I don't know if it's like a tribute to Douglas Hofstadter, but for me, this concept of the self as a strange loop, as like the self like a symbolic recursive structure that emerge just like the reflection when you point a camera to a monitor and it creates recursive feedback. And Douglas Hofstadter used this as a metaphor of the emergent self that reflect on itself, this infinite feedback loop. And when I made this mask, the idea was really to in this feedback between the I wear this mask, I externalize my feeling via light, via music, and I hear the music in return, and there is this loop that happens. Then my mental state change, and then the music change. So it's basically a neurofeedback in a way. So yes, I was really interested in capturing myself, my sense of self through this reflection. Yes, they are. It's really about also wearing your own feeling and externalizing into a tangible form. And so, yeah, there is this quote from Simondon that emotion structure the topology of the self. So there's really something I crystallize into a tangible artifact my feelings, and you can see it in real time. It updates itself. It's spatialized in space and everything. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I think I find it very fascinating, especially where you're able to at least express. Because again, when you're talking to people, you can see when they react. That's kind of one way where you're kind of expressing yourself. But with art and music and colors, I think it just makes it so much more clear, um, and just overall expressive. So okay, so that gets you to the initial BCI. You get like the base level of skills required to kind of understand EEGs, get sensor data, read it. Next step, you now work on actually recording dreams based on this. Tell us a bit more about what actually goes into this, where okay, you need some basic level of skills just in handling ECGs and BCIs, but what is the next step? Because a dreams itself are quite vague. Again, you could say that there are lights up areas of the brain, but a, how do you capture them? Because I know a lot of you, even the folks on the call, probably have had dreams where it seems quite vivid while you're sleeping, but then you wake up and you almost can't recall any of it. What you're trying to do is basically capture that moment while you're sleeping and then possibly replay it again. How does one even start with that? And guys, and if anyone has any questions, yeah, please feel free to jump in or just add in the chat as well.
Yeah, any question before I move to the dream? Okay, then I can go. Yes, so I mean the way you present it sounds like a huge gap, but there is a lot of step here to get the expertise to decode dreams. But just from my journey as a self-taught neurotech engineer, just to precise, because when I said that I started with music psychology, actually the way it was easy for me to start neurotech because first I had the master's degree in AI, so in computer engineering, so all the software part was fine, but I worked in music streaming company, so I had a lot of research expertise in signal processing, and I applied my knowledge in signal processing to biosignal processing. I first started with music processing and then biosignal. Then before the dream, it's been more than 1 year now that I've been working on 3D reconstruction from brainwaves, and we just got a paper accepted to NeurIPS. So
Yes.
this is just the core technology that we can actually reconstruct multi-view 3D structure from the brain. And also when you look at yeah, for the dream, the first proof that dream decoding is feasible was done in 2013 by Kemitani Lab from fMRI. So this has been showed that it is feasible to actually classify the object during the dreams. It was during hypnagogia and using fMRI, but today we are at the convergence of deep learning and brain decoding that converge together so that it is actually possible to now make foundation model for brain decoding. This is the first thing that also make it possible to happen, just the progress of deep learning architecture and the fact that it's converging today with brain decoding. So this is where my expertise in AI as a AI research scientist, this is the key. I mean, because my expertise is not in bioengineering, it's really the pure data-centric expertise that I pursued then at MIT with actual large scale. We had 24 participants from which we did 3D reconstruction. If you could also show I can share my screen, but you could show maybe the
Or you can probably share
3D
the screen if you have
reconstruction
it.
project.
Yeah. And so okay, so you get the EEG, you put it because you're sleeping, and for those who don't know, she's Ninon, I think, sleeps with the EEG on her head, I think, every night, where which just basically generates the actual 3D training data. One question I have is that A, is it because it's just comfortable enough to how do you sleep with it? And the second one being that how do you annotate it? What happens after that? So okay, you sleep, you've captured the
Yeah.
The information
Yeah,
what
because
happens the next
I
day.
have not moved to the all the dream recording protocol, but yeah. So just to answer before moving to how we do this, maybe just the theory that make it also possible is really that visual perception and dream imagery, the neural correlate, use the same brain circuit. So there is an overlap in the brain in the neural correlate. So yeah, just to finish on this part, because what this means is that it's possible then to train a model on massive visual perception dataset and validate on dream data. This is what has been proven by Kamitani and lots of research after that showed that there is an overlap between visual perception and imagery. No, it's not this.
Oh, not this one.
It's yeah. If you type Mindspace 3D on Google, 3D and MIT or Ninon, yes.
No, this one.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is the by USC. This is the initial preliminary result we had that for the 3D reconstruction from brainwaves. We presented a rotating 3D object to participant in virtual reality, and we record their brainwave activity with high resolution EEG. So the top is what was shown to the participant, and the bottom is what we managed to reconstruct. Yes, and so I developed a whole custom architecture that can both I classified the 3D object. I also predict the angle of rotation. So it's actually 4D decoding. We also predict the whole rotation. And then I made an architecture that integrate both component and reconstruct the rotating 3D object. Yes. So to go back to the
So
dream
that's the first
protocol.
step. Like that's the first step where you classify objects where people are awake, they see the objects,
Yeah,
and then you
you
kind of
start
compare it
with
with.
classification
Yeah.
before the reconstruction, but this is true for just visual perception reconstruction. You do classification,
Yeah.
and you turn your classifier into an encoder, and you use this encoder so you have embedding that guide the diffusion model or the model that you use to reconstruct the object.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is really the most basic architecture, but then you can refine and use a more fancy pipeline that when you have more classes or a very large data set of visual perception, it's a bit different when you go at scale. But so for the whole protocol of dream recording, so your first question was, well, is it comfortable? I would reply that you get used to it. No, but I mean, I tested a lot of different brain sensor, different manufacturer, different type of electrodes, and also what I notice is because I test on myself, but we also have the world largest dataset of annotated dream recording. I can talk about this after, and I also did recording on a few participants. And the first dream that they have, it's always they dream about the fact they wear the sensor. And how painful is it? Not now, because I have a better special custom sensor with very comfortable electrode. But at the very beginning, when I started this project, and I did my first dream recording. Why are you showing my
So this is the current one, like just to give a sense of like, okay, what it looks like now. So this would be like the
No,
EEG.
this one is not the high
Okay.
clinical grade that I'm using. This one has just 8 electrode, but yeah, now I'm sleeping with the full cap cover
Got it.
with 32 Chanel, but yes. And so what I wanted to say, yeah, the very first dream recording experiment that I did quite a while ago, it was me and 2 other person. And I had one person who dreamed about the head like a crucifix because of the electrodes were. So it's something that reveal very important even for neurotech designer, because actually the shape of the electrode, we maybe don't realize it, but it triggers a lot of things in the imagery of people. Just having little spike on electrode,
Yeah.
people start to think about Frankenstein or crucifix. And so, yeah, the first dream recording session, people, maybe not nightmare, but they were feeling the electrode and it was not comfortable. So this was really the start, but afterwards I've secured hardware partnership and custom sleep electrode, like very comfortable. And so now I'm able to record all night long, because when I started, it was just through nap session that I was doing because of the sensor limitation. I couldn't do full night. Now we can record consistent signal with good quality all night long. And we have timer to wake up during rapid eye movement stage. So it's the sleep stage where we have particularly vivid dream and the recall is better, because we dream in all sleep stage, but the
Yeah.
REM stage is easier for us. And so, yes, so when I wake up, I annotate my dream, and I have created a dataset like that.
And what do you mean by annotation? Like, so does this mean like recalling all aspects of the dream and then annotating each brainwave at each time? What does the annotation process like involve?
For my custom dataset, it's just I remember the last dream and I have a full report of it. I also have the precise timestamp of the different sleep stage, so I can extract the REM part of it and synchronize the dream report with the onset of the REM stage. But for my the very large data set that I'm working on, I was not the one collecting this data set, but this data set we have a lot of lucid dreamer, so they are actually able to control the content of their dream. So we have precise timestamp of different object concept in the dream. And we also have the recording of their visual perception. So we have both the vision and the dream, both annotated. And yes, by annotated, it's the emotion label and the full narrative of the dream, not just object concept, like the full. Yes. So
Got it.
does it answer your question?
Yeah, so it kind of clarifies things that, okay, how does the process work? What happens after this?
Yes. So then you train a model first on the visual perception data. So when we presented object to a person, and the whole protocol is showing a lot of image to a person to collect as much visual perception data as possible, and then you validate your classifier on the dream data. So you have both but there's a lot of preprocessing for the dream report. You extract the object concept and at first you try to find the object that coincide with what was presented during the visual perception. But then via scaling law, the more visual perception data you show, then you are able to do zero shot and try to classify objects that were not presented in the training dataset.
Got it. And so what is like just the broader vision of this? Like, is there like a 10-year, 20-year vision that you have for this? Like, okay, is it something that anyone can use, basically a device, go to sleep, and then you wake up, you get basically similar to the health score that you get? Okay, you got an 89 sleep score. Is it something where you might be able to scroll through and say, oh, this is what I dreamed about at this time?
My objective is for January, I will have my first dream classification result, because now we are still finishing to pre-process this dataset because it's the world largest, so it's really, really slow to preprocess. But yeah, initial classification in January. I will give a talk at MIT Dream Engineering Symposium presenting the result. But then to scale it to a consumer product, then there will still be a need to calibrate collecting new data on the participant. And I have a list of beta testers actually. If people, I could put in the chat if people want to sign up, because the first people that will test my MVP, yeah, I'll start with, I have lucid dreamer and also people with high dream recall, because I will still at first need to fine tune on small dream dataset, with also the large collection of the visual perception. But yeah, then it's all about how you build a foundation model for brain decoding. I will need to collect even more data, and yeah, for the plan, it's between 5 and 10 years to reach the foundation model.
Very cool. I think Ada had a question right now. Like, okay, what is the current status, I think?
Is it the one in the chat?
Yes. Like, how well can you reconstruct a dream that a person has, like, at this point? Is it currently just identifying objects?
Yes. So yeah, as I said, now I'm for just the dream reconstruction. We are still at the pre-processing stage. The classification will be done for January, because now we still need to train the model. We need to pre-process the data that was just collected. But yeah, it will start. It won't start with the full reconstruction. Let's be clear. I'm not gonna like, let's be realistic about what is feasible. It will start with basic classification of object concept during a certain time window, one or two object concepts that we can classify through the dream. Like, this is just the basic thing that can be achieved, and then we can condition a diffusion model with this object to get a reconstruction, maybe in 2D first and then 3D, where we have a mesh of the object present in the dream. We're not gonna reconstruct the full dream movie next year. Like, it's gonna be, but that's why I said a realistic timeline, like 3 years for a first foundation model that does this object classification with some time window and initial reconstruction, but then reconstruct the full movie of the dream. Yes, this will take more, between 5 and 10 years. Is it a satisfactory answer, Ada? Well, I prefer to be realistic about what is feasible and not.
Well, just to clarify, because you were mentioning like the Frankenstein and the crosses, but so you did do some reconstruction there to like, or they just, is that's just their recall? Is that what you were referring?
No. This was more their recall, and this was just an anecdote about how I started to do dream recording. But this was before Ocean Age Venture Fellowship, and at the time I did not have a clinical grade EEG. It was when I started with a 8-channel EEG. So I had I had just yeah, a small data set of dream dream recording with 8 electrodes. So this was certainly not enough. But I did the project that was dream painting during a hackathon, where we generated visual during the dreams, and guided by emotion label that we managed to classify from dreams. So I did a few like small scale project with this, but now is the first time that I really try to reconstruct precisely the object concept from the dreams, and actually with very high resolution, like 256 channel. Just for the visual perception case, it's possible to reconstruct pixel per pixel the scenes. So if we try with that high resolution on dream, I think there is a possibility, yes, to have more than just single object, but an actual scene that we reconstruct. Yes. But the Frankenstein, no, it was not a reconstructed Frankenstein. It was just my analysis of the situation, of the imagery of person, like how person perceive the fact that they are wearing a EEG and they dream about this. Yes, I'm reading the other question. Yes, so I will add the link in the chat. Do you see any difference? But now I'm working, yeah, maybe this was not clear, but I'm starting exclusively with the lucid dreaming. My own dataset is a bit secondary, like the one recorded from myself. I see the potential more in this ultra high resolution EEG with the annotation from Lucid Dreamer. So at that moment, I cannot compare lucid versus non-lucid. I'm working only with Lucid Dreamer. But I will for sure. This is the roadmap. So I'll just put some question. Should I answer all the question now?
We can continue. So just pick which ones if you'd like to, else we can continue and then we can come back.
I
But
can,
given that we already have the questions, I think we can go through them. Clark had 3 questions.
Yeah, I can go through it. Okay, so yes, so the bottleneck now, I would say the biggest to make it an actual consumer demo, yes, is the sensor aspect, because this week I met with Max Odak, and he suggested me for my demo to go directly to 256 electrodes. So this is something, yes, that involve a cost, and right now that's also the reason I am fundraising, because I would need more funding to get ultra high resolution EEG. I mean to make this demo when I put this on someone and it actually do the reconstruction. Because now I'm working with existing dataset, and I have a high resolution EEG, but it's just 32 electrode, not 256. Yes, and 256 is bigger budget. The data side, but then it's more and the second thing is having collected even more data. So yes, the data side and the sensor. I'm also working with a dataset of 512 electrode, but it's a very small dataset. If you add 15
And just to clarify, like, Ninon, for those who don't know, what does that mean? Like, if you have 8 electrodes versus 32 electrodes versus 256 or 2512, what does that mean in layman's terms?
Yeah. As I said before, so when I said the number of channel or electrode, it's what cover the head. So the more electrode you have, the more resolution you can have for the reconstruction, the more fidelity, the more brain region you cover also, because eight electrode could be just localized on the back of the head, which is good if you want to reach the visual cortex, but maybe the dream is not just visual cortex, there are also the emotion, there are lots of things. So maybe we need full coverage. Yes, and as I said, there are several studies that reconstruct visual perception with 256 electrode, and they managed to reconstruct pixel per pixel, like mapping pixel per pixel the reconstruction. While in my lab, so at MIT, we work with 64 electrode, and so we had this 3D reconstruction that you just saw. But there's another member of the lab who did visual perception reconstruction with 8 electrode, and it works, but it's not the same quality as the pixel per pixel. So it's just to have a compelling demo, because this is just for the visual perception. So imagine the dream. The more
Hmm.
electrode, the better reconstruction. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so for the question 2, if you add 50 million, now, first of all, I will invest in a team, having full-time AI research scientists with me, full-time bioengineer. Now I'm working with freelancer and it's more part-time, but I really need a core team with several AI research scientists and brain decoding to help me in this effort, but also invest in ultra high resolution EEG, maybe other type of, I'm interested in portable MEG, or I would try and hybrid FNIRS EEG. So yeah, I will use those 50 million also in the hardware, in the GPU compute, and what else? An office in San Francisco with my team, and we just create a wet lab, and we all sleep with the sensor. We collect all night, and yes.
Excellent.
My favorite part of Godel et Scherbach, it's I like all the little story interlude that are in the part about the. Well, it's difficult to choose one thing, but there are two answers I can tell. The canon conclusion part from Bach, when he explained the canon conclusion, and also it's more generally the whole structure of the book, that like Douglas Hofstadter said that people have not understood Godel et Scherbach. That's why he wrote I Am a Strange Loop afterward, to explain his view about consciousness. And what I like is, like, Godel et Scherbach is really a masterpiece of a piece of art, like the way it's written, the way just the title of the chapter, the art and science analogy, it's like he was trying to show his own mind art and science analogy through the book. And for me, this is also my favorite part. It's just the entire meta structure of the book. Yeah.
On that point, actually, Ninon, I had one question. I think you had mentioned that you've kind of straddled both worlds, like art and science. And I think one of the lines you had mentioned in the previous interview was, in science, I was the artist of the class, but in art, I was the scientist of the class. Would love to hear your thoughts on just the experience of that overall. Because you find very, very few people, at least nowadays, who are kind of multidisciplinary in that sense. Obviously, in many historical ages, that used to be the norm, but in an era of increasingly high specialization, you don't find too many people um, being that
Yes.
multidisciplinary.
Yes, so I felt like I did not fit the box of existing art and science, so I had this strong commitment to carve my own path throughout my life. Like, and this is something I'm really proud of myself for, that, because I never quit it or never choose between art and science. I always followed my ideal and my vision that I should always maintain those both dimensions of my my who I am. And people often try to reduce you to one dimension, or you need to adapt to your audience too. But yeah, I do
Yeah,
not.
I love that principle. I kind of call it like the and principle, where yeah, you do this and you do this as well. Um, Definitely agree with
Yeah,
that philosophy.
because it's not about someone who is indecisive, who cannot choose. Oh, are you an artist or scientist? It's just, this is who I am. Like, the way I think in those art and science analogy. I need both. Like, if I do just science, I feel like half of who I am. So I need those both dimension. And it's the philosophy that make the link between both. It's the integration of all into one coherent system.
In one natural outcome of that is you've been pursuing now work as an independent researcher, slightly outside of academia, not necessarily within that entire ecosystem. Any thoughts on how that has been just for you personally, navigating that, as well as just fundraising? Like, how do you fund the projects continually? Do you do commercial work separately as well, or what is this the idea? Like, if someone wants to pursue a similar path of independent research, any thoughts that you can share with them?
Yeah, because for the audience, if it was not clear, because I joined MIT 1 year and 2 months ago, but before MIT, so I graduated from university, the master degree in 2021, and so between 2021 and 2024, I was independent researcher. I had a few just small short-term job, but I was artist in residence at big CAD company in France, but I was a self-entrepreneur, like my status, and so I was independent all the time, publishing my research on my own, even publishing at ICML workshop paper as a solo author. Yes, so there was the thing about how you fund this research, because I self-fund myself all this time. So one part is the bootstrapping, because when I work as a research scientist in a startup, I had little capital out of it, so I was able to stay to keep doing my work with this. But I kept applying to grant all the time. I got a first grant from Dassault System that enabled me to pursue my work, and now there's Ocean Age Venture, because my status at MIT Media Lab, I'm not hired by MIT Media Lab. I'm a research affiliate, so this means I'm not paid by MIT, to be clear. They refund my research when I go to NeurIPS, for example, but I'm not an employee of MIT. So I always kept my independence on that aspect. So some advice is, when you feel that your vision do not fit in the box or in the institutional box, then you need to carve your own path and take the time to create your own vision. And what I learned through my journey is, at this moment when I start to care about institution approval, this is when my work starts to be recognized. So precisely when I made my first brain-computer interface, it started just as an art project at first. Art project, but also neurotech, so art and science. It was just, I wanted to do it. Nobody told me you will do this. It was not a job in any way. It was just my own project. And I did it just for myself. Like, it was really self-centered. And then I showed this to audience across 3 continents, and they actually like it. And then last year it was recognized top 100 French invention, like completely out of the blue. Like, this was really insane. So yeah, I don't know what is the insight from it. It's just when you start to make what you really want, then the success follows. Maybe not all the time, but I think it's worth it to take the risk. And yeah, and sometimes you can be surprised by the outcome, because it's after that I joined MIT. For 3 years, I applied to MIT. I was rejected all the time. I did not understand why I was rejected. So I saw I had not enough award or credentials, so I started to publish 10 papers. It was still not enough for MIT. So then I got award. It was still not enough. And then I got so much success for my neurotech that I stopped to need any kind of academic approval. And now I just want to pursue my own venture without academic approval. Yes, this was my...
I fully agree with the philosophy, which is that yeah, if you can't find it, then you make that unique box, whatever that you want to be a part of, or just free open.
Yeah, and maybe or maybe this is another question for later, but for the academia versus private funding, maybe this was I think when you do project like dream reconstruction, I felt the gap in terms of how easy it is to fund such project in academia versus my talking to venture capitalist, or like there's a really, that's when I realized, because I was a scholar or academic, even if I was an independent researcher, I believe so strongly in academia for all my life. I wanted to have my PhD at MIT Media Lab and maybe not become a professor, but I wanted to become research scientist, have my very fixed position in FONG or something like that, and but really research in some structure. But yeah, I realized that when you have projects that are that big as dream reconstruction, it will not be the academia that will fund it. So you need to find alternative path to fund it. So grant or fellowship, Ocean Ventures.
Okay, excellent. I think we have a couple of more questions as well. One is from Neil.
Yes. Yeah, so yes, it's the crab canon. I don't know. Yeah, because I read Godel et Scherbach in French. So I think that's why it's, I don't know in English if it's called the concrete en canon. But it's okay. Curious as to your most basic answer regarding the whole dream play in our life.
That's a fascinating thought. Dystopian future with ads in our dreams.
Yes. Yes, so maybe you were not there when I said it, but for me, I really see dream as the function of, like, the motor of individuation of beings. Like really the dream is this, if we follow Michel Jouvet theory, that part of the dream comes from the DNA, or like, to be more precise, because it can sound highly speculative, but in fact it's just some genetically programmed behavior tendency expressed in the dream, and in the dream we negotiate with these innate factors and the acquired factors. And so for me, dream is really as a allostatic function. It's really the function when we become who we are, like we individuate ourselves. We either reproduce some pattern or we break from it. So for me, yes, it's a fundamental function for the evolution of human beings. So in our life, in our life, but really across several generations. There's also something interesting in the fact that only the species who self-regulate their temperature have vivid dreams. The species who are cold blood, or like the species who depend on the external factor to regulate the temperature, they do not have as vivid dream as we are, or they do not have at all. And so there are some theory that dream as a function of both energy, information, and behavioral regulation of the individual. But for me, it's more than just a thermostat that you regulate. Is also not maintaining the equilibrium, but also creating new pattern in an individual. Yes, but for the dystopian future, I mean, this is all a question about open sourcing dream decoding and the privacy of what I will do. In terms of how this will be used, because I'm like, if I reconstruct the dream, I'm not sure I will open source the weight of the model and all the data set, even though I'm a very strong advocate of open source. But the question is, if we put this model, these tools in the hands of marketing company, or company with bad intention that would like to program. Now it's just decoding dreams, but once we decode, we can also program the dream. This is the next step. When you have the reconstruction and the object, you can incubate certain concepts during dreams. This is what we already did with Lucid Dreamer, but once you have the dream decoding pipeline, you can validate this whole protocol. So this can be very scary indeed. And so that's
I think
also
like a
the
positive
reason.
use might be where you can learn in dreams. Again, comes back to like you just want to
Learn, but
maximize time on Earth, but
invent, and the people who are obsessed with productivity will say that they will work in their dream. Okay, but
exactly,
this is not
get things done faster.
my vision. No, for me, the positive, there are several things. It's about my first use case, and I think there is also a question about this, but I'm interested in dream decoding for PTSD therapy, and also just therapy in general, not necessarily just PTSD, but there is a strong use case and demand on that end, that you can intervene to stop nightmare, or at least to mitigate certain PTSD symptom with brain decoding. And there is also all the function for creativity and invention of dreams. Both scientists and artists found inspiration in their dream. The structure of the DNA, I think, was found in the imagine, at least in the dream. There is a fascinating book about the exchange between Carl Jung and Pauli, the physicist, where they discuss the physicist's dream and how he found inspiration from his physics theory in his dream. And the artist who found Dali, the surrealist, who used their dream as a source of inspiration. So yeah, there is. I don't see just the ad inserted in your dream to answer the question. And this is also why I want to be the one in charge of this project, because my intention be like why I do this, my mission with my grandfather and everything. I want to make sure that it is safe, and I think it's the responsibility of the engineer who built the model to decide what or to unlock what is feasible with the model or not. So yeah, I won't make it a brain rot or AI slop machine where we read your dreams and then we recommend you advertising for something. This is not my vision of. I think humanity deserves better than this. So yes. Yes, this answer maybe some of the question after. For the
Yeah.
availability, and I did a user survey about this, actually, what people actually want to use dream decoding for, and there is both the creativity, self-exploration use case and the therapy. So I want to develop both. I'm starting with the therapy, and then the creativity or general consumer dream decoding for everyone, democratizing access to the subconscious. Yeah, if AI, you want to develop any use case in particular, or if you have an idea or something that you want that I have not covered, I will be interested. So curious as to some of the most, but something I'm very interested about dreams is the function of the eye movement in the dreams, because there's not a consensus yet about that. And so my thesis, okay, or maybe I will start with the theory first, a little bit. So during dreams, there are traveling waves that goes from your brainstem to your thalamus and your visual cortex, and this generate this imagery, bizarre visuals. But during dreams, your eye movement are synchronized with these traveling waves. So it's not like an hallucination or like you have a visual and your eyes scan the scene. Because during rapid eye movement, so you dream and your eyes goes like crazy. And so when we dream, it's not a visual and we explore the scene with the eyes. The eyes may have actually a different function because it's synchronized with these traveling waves, and actually the eyes could be in charge of structuring the dream narrative. It's highly speculative, so take it or leave it, but there's actually some backing of this research that, yeah, the rapid eye movement could structure the syntax of the narrative structure of the dreams. So this is something I am also working on demonstrating.
Is there any research on like which kind of correlates how the brain just instantly kind of matches? Like if you're sleeping and in a dream and like the cell phone rings, automatically in the dream or like just an alarm rings, your brain will convert it to something like, oh, you're getting a phone call from someone. Is there any research on like which tells you how the brain does that? Or just instantly it kind of changes it? Or like as you mentioned, like the spikes, it just converts it to you're being crucified or something.
Yeah, but this is also part of the protocol that we use to collect the dataset, because we try to induce specific concept with different stimuli. So it's not a direct translation like phone call outside in the dream, but yes, you can make the dreamer learn some specific association. It's also like just behavior therapy or not therapy, but like Pavlov dog, or like some very basic association that a certain sound triggers a specific action. But with lucid dreamer, it's more we ask them to control at a specific moment. So yeah, there is research in my lab that was done by Adam Horowitz, where he induced concept of I think a tree in a dream. So yeah, depending on what you show just before the moment of dream and also during the dream, you can induce specific concept. But the effect of it, what I read is that it can impact the creativity, the performance in creativity after the dream. Like if you induce a concept that will be used for the creative tasks, afterward the person who dreamed about it will perform better. And there are studies like that. Yes. Or that it's sleep on it, or all the expression like that is actually backed by science. When you ask someone to do a task and just before that they do a nap where they dream about the concept of the task or the task, they perform better. I don't know if this was exactly the question, but yeah, there are some interesting effects on this. Yeah, so I think having access to dream reconstruction will affect the way we dream. First of all, we might, finally, we might recall better our dreams on the long term, because there is one tips to remember better your dream is to actually have an intention and have a specific relation with your dream in your life. And there was some, one criteria that one researcher presented at the Lucid Dreaming Symposium where I went this summer. And so having the reconstruction can train your memory then to remember even better. And what else? We can, once we have the reconstruction, I don't know, maybe we'll be more self-conscious. Yeah, there will be a whole policy to create about what is the limit of what we will reconstruct, because yeah, then there will be sensitive content in the dream, but the goal is not to make people censor themselves at all, and to keep it all within the consent of the individual. Yeah, the first thing I see is more that we will recall more. And yeah, I think it would rewire it would develop a new cognitive ability, sense or ability in a way. For me, it's almost like the invention of writing when we reconstruct the dreams, or the printing press, or something of very fundamental externalization of the memory of the individual. So if we can, on the long term, every day reconstruct a person being, and we could also share the dream only if they consent. But I talked with many people who are interested in this collective function of the dream. So once we reconstruct, then there will be a collective shared awareness of the dream, or there could be a develop more the collective scale of the dream together, and yes.
Inception. That's like going to be the the next question, I think, for everyone. You can
Yeah,
record
so,
it.
yeah, so you talk about or about reconstructing the other sense. But the thing is that vision. Should I read the question for the audience, or it's fine? People understand.
It's fine.
Because the person asked if this only apply to reconstructing vision during dreams, but could we do other things, other modalities? The thing is, vision is the easier modality to reconstruct during dream, because this is the modality the most present. Like the sense of smell or auditory is, especially smell, is almost non-existent in dreams. And so maybe the second, I think I would go in the order of visual perception, then maybe proprioception, or more like the motor imagery during dreams. But then if we go to auditory, I mean, it's worth trying, but I see this less viable than the visual imagery reconstruction during dreams. But it doesn't mean it's not possible, but it will require much more work than what my work already. So good luck if this is your research project. Yes, so thank you for the Jung and Polly reference. Yes. So there is, someone posted the essay on Jung and Polly, but there's an entire book. I think it's called Dream Symbol of Individuation, I believe. There's a whole book, but that is a compilation of probably all this essay. I've not clicked on the link, but yeah. So Jung and Polly, the physicist, exchange a lot of letters, but they had a actual therapy session where they uncover Polly's dream. There is a famous dream, is the word clock, where apparently this is where Polly found this theory about synchrony or something. Yes. Is it your question, Adman?
No, I was just like putting a comment, and
dream?
apparently that's at least on socials, that's what people have been talking about, and I can't recall any time where I have seen a screen, and it's a
Just
bit
before
perplexing where
falling
people don't know,
asleep.
like, why is that, even though screens dominate our waking times.
Oh, the reconstruction, I don't know, but study of the dream of animals, yes, there is a lot about this when it was, I don't know if it's still legal nowadays to record the dream of animals, but actually the research from so Michel Jouvet, the French researcher who discovered, well, there are some debate, but he discovered a REM sleep. He started with cats and other animals, but what he did
Mm.
is not super nice, but he opened the brains of
Oh,
cats
wow.
and showed that because when you dream, there is this muscle atonia where your muscles are paralyzed, except the eyes. And so when you block this mechanism, he showed that the cats start to act their dreams. So he did large-scale experiment, I think hundreds of cats, where he showed that the cats, they dream about maximum 3 or 4 behavioral patterns. Like they start to hunt, they start to drink water, or like they are, or eat food. Yes. So there was experiment, yes, on human dreams, but not reconstruction, but just make them act their dream by stopping the muscle atonia. Yeah, do you believe dream? If so. But I'm interested about all the different possible function of the dream. I'm not limiting myself to one, and in general, my research I try to take from different fields. So the theory that there are premonition in the dreams, and there are also theory telling that the dreams have it's a message from the god or something like that. And there are a lot of interpretation of or the desire or a lot of things. So I'm interested in this question, but then having a testable protocol, I'm trying to do reproducible science. So
Yeah.
how do
So
you? Sorry.
yeah, I can. Well, so I think it's not a theory. It's just true. But I mean, if you're interested, I even know someone. He's in Germany. He's like working on associated remote viewing. If you're familiar with that concept, so remote viewing is pretty like I mean, you can make it pretty binary, so it's could be scientific, but they incorporate like lucid dreamers in their protocol in terms of people who are predicting things. So I do think that there's like scientific like
No, but
repeatable stuff.
I would
Now,
be
of course,
interested.
you know, I think there's also people who like outright think that they're just not going to be able to believe it to the point where they wouldn't even be interested in pursuing or like talking to someone like that. But I also think if you're open to it at all and talking to a group that does seem to have that like success with lucid dreamers.
Yeah, I am open to talking to, yeah, I would say that I can believe to everything as long as there is an actual evidence for it that I can see, and I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I do see that we are slightly over time. Any other questions we guys can address? Else, I've shared Ninon's website link, and you guys can kind of get in touch with her there. Or I think, Ninon, what's the best place to get in touch with you? Is it Twitter?
Yes, Twitter. Yeah, just a moment. I will just share the link of for the if person want to sign up to the beta tester. Yes. So yes, it's user study that I'm running just to get people habits in dreaming, dream recall, and how they would like to see their dream reconstructed, and also if they sign up, they can become beta tester once I have a MVP. So
Excellent. This was wonderful, Ninon. I hope that instead of 10 years, we can get there in 5 or even 3 years, where we can actually go ahead and see our dreams while we're sleeping. And an ideal scenario, I would also love to see that does the inception side of things also come true, where you're dreaming with your friends and you're just creating the worlds that you want. Hopefully, I think with the research that you're doing, that probably lays the groundwork for us to see that future. Hopefully, much, much sooner than later. But this was absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Take care.